Center ice, Wally Schreiber on left wing, and over on the right side, Fabian Joseph. This is the line they want to check against the big Soviet line tonight of Larionov, Makarov, and Semak. And we're underway, and the Soviets with Makarov, number 24, feeding it to Fetisov. Here's Fetisov, number 2. That's the big defenseman we were talking about. Centered one, tipped wide of Team Canada's goal. In to get it. Semak, the rookie, was 20 years of age, centering it. Schreiber breaks it up to Doucette. Has Joseph with him. The Fabian Joseph shot it just wide. 2-on-1 break, and Canada didn't get the shot off. Now Doucette to Schreiber in the corner. Number 7 for Canada, Schreiber. Now it is centered, and Larionov intercepts number 11 for the Soviet Union. Into center ice for Makarov. Dropping one back, comes to the point, taken by Tatarinov, checked, and here's a break for Canada. Sherman in the clear, shoots up high. Another good chance for Canada here in the early going as Sherman broke in. Now into the other corner, Hampshire in for Canada. To Sherman, number 10. Sherman centered, and that's poked wide. Hampshire to Claude Villegra, number 18. To Sherman. Back on the point. There's a drive right on off the stick of the defenseman Trent Yanni. And Bello Shaken made the save and held on. And Canada comes up big in the early going.
Well, Dave King, it's a familiar story for him. This team gets 2 great chances, work for them, get the chances, Brad, and then they come up empty again. Joseph missing a pass 35 seconds into the game at 1:05. Sherman on a break missed the net.
Well, those are the breaks that Canada felt that they had in the Izvestia tournament. They had 5 breakaways in the game. They had 4 or 5 2-on-1 chances in the first period. And we just want to make sure and hope that this is going to be a repeat. If they can start to put those chances away, the Soviets can and will lose their poise.
Now it is the Soviets breaking out in a 2-on-1 break and a shot wide by Svetlap, number 16. And it's cleared out of there by Sherman. So the Soviets missed on a 2-on-1. Puck into the corner, taken there by number 16. Svetlov centered out in front. Shot off the goal post. Off the stick of number 13, Kimyensky. Hit the post and then was smothered by Sean Burke from the Saddle Dome. This is the Calgary Cup live on CTV.
Well, I wonder if Sean Burke talks to the goalposts. How about this one? Out in front, Kamensky right there, and he just rolled it. Not a hard shot off the goalpost and into the goal mouth area, and Big Sean just fell right on top of that. Boy, wide open to start this game.
Canada's had a couple of good chances. The Soviets have had one, and the puck is cleared out by Team Canada all the way down the ice. Starikov, number 12, back to touch it, and it's an icing call against Canada.
Victor Tikhonov there, talking to a couple of his players, is really had to do a bit of juggling here with the Soviet team. Vladimir Krutov, as we mentioned, out with a hamstring, and they put Semak into his spot on the line. Semak, normally a centerman who's now playing on the left side. And Mikhail Varnakov, number 19 for the Soviets, suffered a mild concussion last night, so he's out of the game as well.
And Kareem will replace him on left wing. He's out there now on this line with Bekhoff and Homatov. For Canada, it is Ronning, McLaren, and Bill Grant. Here is Kareem, number 28. Dumping it in. Going back, Zalapsky for Canada. Cleared it out onto the boards to Bill Grant or Ronning, number 27. To Claude Villegra, leaving it there. Carrying in for Canada is McLaren, number 20. Back of the net to Villegra. Now to Ronning. Cliff Ronning, number 27. Couldn't get it centered. Villegra tied up in the corner by Stelnop. Now shot around on the boards, but held in by Trent Yanni for Canada to McLaren. McLaren moving in, shoots one, blocked at the defense. And the Soviets take over, and it is Stelnov, number 4, feeding it out, and here come the Soviets into center ice. Lead pass in across the line for Bekhoff. Now a backhander right on target by Kareem. And a save by Burke, and he held on. Not that hard a shot, but Burke took no chance.
Well, Clip Ronning clearly got clipped down there in that last shift. He headed quickly to the bench down near the Soviet net. He's been very effective in this international-style hockey. He looks like he's going to be a pretty successful hockey player here. He seems very much involved in the play, likes the big ice surface and the chance to use his skating ability.
Assistant coach Guy Chiron seemed to be trying to calm him down. Von Karpin for Canada getting it into the Soviets' into the rink. Yevdokimov back to get it for the Soviets, clearing it into center ice. And Canada's Tony Stiles, number 4, back after it. To Karpin, missed him, and comes to the Soviet end of the rink with Yevdokimov back to pick it up. Into forecheck, Canada coming up with it. Nieuwendyk almost centered it. And now it's shot around by Priyakin, number 14, as the Soviets try and come out of their own zone. Into the far corner for Gusarov now at center, and we're going to get a penalty back of the play against number 3, Alexei Gusarov of the Soviets. And a penalty coming up from the Saddledome. This is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV.
Big Alexei Gusarov is off for high sticking at 3:52. Fellow is added for this Canadian tour, which of course includes the Canada Cup Series. He's in for 2 minutes. Canada on the power play.
Canada 2 for 7 on the power play in this tournament, 29%. Only problem is the Soviets are 100% as penalty killers. They've killed off 17 penalties without giving up a goal. And they control it right now. Fetisov getting it into center ice, and Larianov drops it back deep into the Soviet end of the rink. Now Makarov, number 24. Around on the boards to Fetisov. Fired it out of there. And Canada will have to retreat and reorganize. 18-year-old Zarley Zalewski. Up the middle. Getting it for Mark Hampshire, number 24. Hampshire trying to dump it in. Does. Puck loose at the side of the net. Centered by Canada. Bellows shaken, caught out of there. Now gets back in. Here's Zalewski at the point. To Shervin, he missed that. And Kasatonov comes up with it and cleared it. Getting it out on left wing for Fetisov, who shot at the center. Here's Zalewski for Canada. Flipping it in, but offside. Number 9 on the far side. Ken Berry in ahead of the play. Offside.
Ken Berry, the veteran, jumped a little bit too quickly right at the line as Zalewski made a move just at the line. Some confusion at the side of the net as Belosheikin seemed to get tangled up. But what happened was the puck hit the side of the net. Maybe we can see it here. And as he tried to get back into the goal mouth area there, I think he looked like he stretched a hamstring or something, perhaps, Brad, as he tried to get that pad back. But he got tangled up with his own players. He got caught behind the net and then in the scramble. They seem to be all right now.
Belichick was a little mixed up. When he went behind the net, he left the puck for his defenseman, but Ken Berry ran right into him, and he got out of position, wasn't sure where he was.
Canada still on the power play as they dump it in, but the Soviets are there, and it's cleared right out by Tatarinov for the Soviets. Back for Canada, Felix around on the boards as the Canadians try and move up ice on the power play. Here's Schreiber or Ryerson, number 22. Beating one into center ice. Gets it to McLaren. That's broken up, and the Soviets get it back to center. Just 10 seconds left in the penalty. McLaren for Canada, number 20. Dropping it to Cliff Ronning. Rink wide for Dave Ryerson. Penalty is up, and the Soviets break the play up and clear it back to the Canada end of the rink. Here's Cliff Ronning. Ronning trying to stick handle through. In behind the net, centered to Mike Stapleton. He couldn't get it, and the Soviets try and clear it. McLaren knocking it down. McLaren to Ronning. Around behind the net, Stapleton had Ronning open, but the play broken up. Now it's Ronning again. And the Soviets come up with it, stolen again. Ronning centered. McLaren pinned on it in front. And back comes Samak for the Soviets. In control now, Homatov. Drop pass, that put the play offside at the Team Canada line. From the Saddledome, this is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV.
In Calgary tonight, early in the first period, actually 6 minutes and 35 seconds in. Soviets had better chances, Dan.
I was going to say, Ron, the Soviets may be a little surprised at the aggressive offensive play of Team Canada here in the early going. Here is a play from behind the net. The Soviets can't center. Kryakin, number 14, now into the far corner. Homolov trying to get it out in front. Now Kryakin does drop it in front, but back comes Nieuwendyk for Canada, number 28. Joe Nieuwendyk shooting it in. In comes Stapleton. He's taken out on the play by Yevdokimov. Canada holding it in. Shot by Stiles is wide. And Homolov for the Soviets into center ice. Getting it to Kryakin. Now a drop pass. And Nemchinov's shot is turned aside by Burke. Centering pass. Burke knocks it away. Shot from the point off the glove as it was let go by Gasarov. And a great glove save by Burke. Canada clear it down the ice. And the man who let that last shot go, Alexei Gasarov, back to touch it. Icing against Canada.
Well, you've got to like Sean Burke. We saw a great example of his ability to perform under pressure against Czechoslovakia the other night. 2 saves here. First of all, number 21, Nemchinov, gets that nice dish pass there and then uses the screen beautifully, Brad. And again, Burke just waited till the shot was on its way before he made his move. And got the save there. Gusarov on the second one, and 2 big saves right here, and the game still remains goalless.
Definitely, Nemchinov made the best. The only opportunity he had was to shoot the puck and use it as a screen. Defenseman kind of left his legs open. Sean Burke got a good look at it.
Soviets still with pressure on. Shot from the point. Burke another save. Rebound. Burke stopping Makarov from the edge of the crease. Makarov to Lariana. Over to Fetisov. Now dropping it back. And Kazatonov is taken heavily into the boards in this near corner by Benoit Doucette. And we'll get a stoppage in play and a face-off in the Team Canada end of the rink.
Well, Alexei Kazatonov there got a little bit of a ride from young Benoit Doucette as he went in deep to try and retrieve a puck from the corner. Kazatonov is considered the second best defenseman in the Soviet Union to his defensive partner Fetisov, of course. And he's one of those guys, I guess, was always like the guy who played with Bobby Orr. You never remember who the partners for Bobby Orr were. But when he was on his own, when Fetisov was injured, he broke his leg 2 years ago, missed the first half of the season. Kazatonov got the big jump and wound up winning the defenseman scoring championship that year. And playing very well. Although he loses a little bit of his edge when he plays without Fetisov. They're a real pair.
Here is Fetisov to Larianov. Trying to center now to Makarov. Got it in front, but Canada intercept and back they come. Here is a lead pass in on left wing for Schreiber. He's taken out. Doucette couldn't get it. And here's Fetisov to Makarov. Now to Larianov. Moving in, Larianov trying to center. Had a man open in front of the net, Semak, but couldn't get it to him. And Schreiber for Canada cleared it. Held in by the Soviets. Here's Makarov. In front, shot right on by Kazatonov. And a save by Burke on number 7, Alexei Kazatonov, who moved in on the right side.
Kazatonov getting very much involved all the way around. How about this play as a quick shot, and again, Burke is right there in good position to make the save.
The one thing I like about the Canadian defense tonight is what they're doing is they're giving the wrist shots up from the top of the circle. They're not letting the Soviets wind up with a big slapper from there, and that would cause Sean Burke a lot of problems if they allow that.
The Soviets have now outshot Team Canada 6-2, but it's scoreless. Just over 11 minutes left in the first period. Soviets circling in their own zone as Gavginsky drops one back. Now, coming to center ice. Lead pass from Semyonov. Getting it in front of the net. Chance for the Soviets. Backhander. Stopped by Burke. Svetlov let it go. Now back on the point. Moving in. A drive. Burke another save on the shot by Pervukin. Here's Pervukin again. Now getting it into the corner as Kamensky tried to center. Couldn't in Canada. Ken Berry getting it to center ice. Over to get the loose puck for Pervukin, number 5. He's a 30-year-old veteran, the oldest player on the Soviets team. And back is Canada as it's cleared out of there by Dave Ryerson. Knocked right back in, and Ryerson has it again for Canada. To Gord Sherbin, number 10. Sherbin getting away from some forechecking. Lead pass to McLaren. Goes down the ice, and Mello shaken out of the net to clear it away, and the Soviets shoot at the center. Chris Felix has it there to Tony Stiles. Lost it. Chance for the Soviets as Kareem tries to center. He's tied up on the boards, and it's held there. And we'll get a face-off in the Team Canada end of the ring. From the Saddle Dome, this is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV.
Well, in the give and take of a hockey game like this, Canada got the first two shots. Soviets have come back. They have taken 7 in a row now, 7-2 the shots on goal for the Soviets. But the glittering scoring chances are about even, with Canada getting those 2 early ones, and then actually there were 3 of them, and then the Soviets coming back with a few just in the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Canada controlling from the face-off is Chris Felix under pressure. Felix battling with Kareem. Now Canada coming up with it, and Ronning fired it high off the glass, and it rolls down to the Soviet end of the ring. Back to get it, Stelnov, number 4. Soviets shoot it into center ice, and they're on the attack right now with Khomatov moving it over onto the right side. Khomatov, number 15, gets it again. Couldn't get the shot off. And McLaren then checked by Khomatov, and the puck flips up over the glass into the crowd.
Well, Don McLaren is from Kitchener, Ontario, and played some pretty good hockey for York University. As a matter of fact, he was the most valuable player of the 1985 CIAU championship when he scored all 3 goals as York beat the University of Alberta 3-2. You like to have guys like him around, Brad. He's a winner. He played at a Memorial Cup champion in Kitchener and then won a college championship. I hope that some of that rubs off here with Canada's national team.
Definitely. He's one of the more experienced guys, and he's going to do a good job out there for you. He's going to pick up his man and not lose him. And he's, because he's an older guy, probably might have better concentration than a lot of the younger fellas as far as the defensive role is concerned.
Soviets working the puck on the right wing side to Pryakin. He couldn't get it. It goes the length of the ice. And Zalapsky back to touch it as he out-battles the young center iceman Nemchinov and touches the puck for the face-off on the icing card.
Last year with Canada's Olympic team, there were 2 defensemen, and they were both great. Both went in the first round of the draft, Zarley Zalapsky and Sean Anderson. And Anderson now is toiling in professional hockey. Zarley, meanwhile, who may have been a little bit behind, many people thought, Anderson in terms of development. Many people think now he's moved ahead of Anderson simply because of the practice time and so on that he's been getting with the Olympic team program here, which is certainly a much greater amount of time to develop your skills than when you're playing in the day in, day out basis.
And Chinop over to Pryakin, number 14. Pryakin for the Soviets, dropping one back, and stick handling in is quick shot by Homelop, and a good save by Burke as Homelop worked in very deep, number 8, and Burke made the save.
Brad, this is a low percentage play, but it became a little bit dangerous because he just threw it up on Burke. Watch this now as he's down near the goal line.
He looks at Sean Burke right there and sees that Sean is playing the pass, and hopefully Sean's taking his eyes off him. He's just trying to bounce it off him. He saw that everything, when he went around that last player, that everything was shut down, so he had to go to the net with a puck.
Shot from the point by Yevdokimov wide of the net. Other point. That one is blasted wide by Gusarov, and Canada starting back. Stapleton moving in as a man in front, shoots. Saved by Bello Shaken, and he stopped. The rebound, too, from Mike Stapleton, the ex-Cornwall Royal. A draft choice of the Blackhawks, and Whitey Stapleton, the ex-Blackhawks son.
Well, the old question is, do you pass it off on a 2-on-1? Well, the lane was bottled up very nicely. He had very little room to pass it up into the slot. He was doing a good job bottling up the lane was the veteran Gusarov. And that rebound, and he got a good piece of that one, too. But Bello Shaken is right there, covering up the short side.
Here's a chance right from the faceoff as it rolled into the goal crease as Benoit Doucette got the draw, and Bello Shaken grabbed it. I like the idea of Stapleton firing that puck on that 2-on-1.
Oh, well, why not take it? But as I say, certainly he had no play up through the middle because the defense had covered the lane pretty well.
Here's the Soviets' top line now. Larionov moving it in across the line to Semak. Semak to Larionov in front for Fetisov. Back to the point. Now to Larionov. Backhander. Burke to save. And Doucette comes up with a rebound. Benoit Doucette, who's out there with Schreiber and Fabian Joseph. Their job is to go head on against this big Soviet line of Larionov, Makarov, and Semak. And right now, here's Makarov, backhander. High off the glass. Doucette clearing it. Larionov to Makarov. Dropping it back, Fetisov. Now to Larionov, but poked by Joseph, the center. Picked up by Doucette for the long shot. Off the glove, but bellow shaken. He wasn't sure where that was for a second. And here's Fetisov. Giving it to Larionov, number 11. Back into the Soviet zone to Kasatonov. Now in front of the net as the Soviets change. And Kazminski lost control. And the Soviets had to clear it into center ice. Back is Sherman. He gives it to Mark Hampshire. No score here in the first period. Hampshire moving in. And he's checked from behind by the Soviets, who now clear it out. Hampshire knocked it down. Here's Hampshire. Tried to center to Berry. Missed him with it. And back come the Soviets. Demyensky, number 13, drops it back. And the shot blocked. And back comes Canada's Ken Berry. Berry taken out of the play. And the Soviets drop it back for Buchan, number 5. Working him into center ice. And it's dumped in by Kamensky. But Ronning is there to give it to Sherman. Cross ice pass. And Zalapsky shoots at the center ice. Vasily for Buchan, number 5, back to get it. No score, just over 6 minutes left in the first period. Long lead pass. Here's a chance for Svetlov in and goal. Burke a poke check with his stick. And Zalapsky has it. But we're going to get a penalty on the play against Canada for hooking. From the Saddle Dome, this is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV.
Tony Stiles in for hooking. Whatever happened to tight international checking? End to end this last little bit. There's the hook, and that took Svetlov out of the play and wound up putting him in the net, not the puck. But Stiles is in. First power play advantage for the Soviets.
Soviets in this tournament, 5 for 9 in the power play, 55%. And they operate with the man advantage right now. Canada has not given up a goal against in 5 shorthanded situations earlier. Here's Stelnov at the point. Shot. Let go, and Burke to save, and then it's cleared out by Schreiber for Canada. And going back to get it, Starikov, number 12. Into center ice for Kareem. Now over to his line mate, Bekov, trying to center. Soviets still with the puck. Soviets on a power play. Centered. Knocked away by Canada. Over to get it. Soviets control it. Dropping it back on the point again for Starikov. Starikov gets it once more. Now they work it in on the left side. Canada playing the box perfectly. Shot from the point. Deflects as it was let go by Starikov. And Canada clears it out of there. Benoit Doucette whacking it off the boards. A minute left in the penalty. Soviets operating with the man advantage as they come to center. Moving in. Good play by Zalapsky to break it up. And it's shot down the ice again by Dave Ryerson with Fetisov back to pick it up. He drops it back for Makarov, number 24. Soviets on a power play. Makarov to Kasatonov. Back to Makarov. Great goal scorer, great offensive player for the Soviets. To Fetisov. Shooting, that's wide of the target. Kasatonov in on the boards. Zalapsky breaks it up and then cleared out of there by Von Karpin, number 19. 10 seconds left in the penalty. Long lead pass to Makarov, but the Canadians are there, and it's shot by Chris Felix up over the glass with 3 seconds left in the penalty to Tony Stiles.
And not a shot to show in the power play as Victor Tikhonov looks on. His team is a lot of motion out there, but they're not getting to the net, I think, the way they'd like to get them in there.
You got to go to the point with the shots. The Soviets are very reluctant to do that. And it's something that they don't like to do because they never practice it.
Stiles is back on. Canada at full strength as Svetlov shoots it in. Canadians back to get it, and Hampshire quickly clearing it out of there. And now we have a Soviet player down on the ice and injured, Yuri Homolov, going into the corner, and he's face down on the ice and injured.
Looks like he came piling into the corner, and and may have wound up going into a stick as he went into the corner. He goes down. Homolov from the Soviet wings. Got a line from the Soviet wings that is playing here. And I think he just ran afoul of the stick of Stiles. Tony Stiles in the corner. And he is paid the price for that.
Soviets, Fetisov, by the way, their team captain, questioning the referee, asking for a penalty.
All right, let's take a look at it. In the corner now, Stiles. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. The officials missed that one.
From the Saddle Dome, this is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV. With Ron Roos, Brad Park, and Dan Matheson, Dan Kelly in Calgary, Alberta. At the Saddle Dome, no score, 3:53 left in the first period. Soviets with a line of Semyonov, Kamensky, and Svetlov out there. And they control and started down the left side and dump it into Team Canada's zone. Racing in Svetlov, but Franchiani gets it for Canada and plays it off the boards. And here comes Chris Felix, his defense partner, shooting it in. Off a stick and up over the glass into the crowd.
The granddaddy of them all. Some people who are more experienced in the business than I am have called it that over the years. And that will be followed by the Orange Bowl as Arkansas meets Oklahoma.
Here's the 20-year-old Tatarinov shooting it to center on the fly. Picked up by Kamensky, in on goal. He scores. Number 13, Valery Kamensky, and it's 1-0 for the Soviets.
Kamensky from the Soviet Army, and he just wound up with a breakaway on a long lead pass that got the defense pinching just a little bit. And he is on a clean breakaway. Watch him go up high here. Love side on Sean Burke. Another view of it from the low-level camera. This is a good view of it now as he fakes, drops the shoulder, goes up high above the glove.
This is the perfect shot by Kamensky. But what he did, he looked at come down on Burke. You saw Burke crouching, and you tried to get it up, but you can't perfect getting it up under the crossbar that quick and that fast. Here's a look at our goal scorer, Kamensky. He comes down. There's Sean Burke squatting up. That's off the crossbar and in. That's perfect. That's a bullseye. There isn't a goaltender anywhere that's going to stop that consistently.
A couple of the 20-year-old youngsters combining on that play. Tatarinov and finishing it off Kamensky. But Tatarinov with a perfect pass to hit him right at center ice. Now Canada with McLaren trying to clear it out. Gets it into center ice, and then two men take a run at Sergei Starikov along the boards, and we get a stoppage. And now Ronning and one of the Soviets, Delnov, slash at each other. From the Saddle Dome, this is the Calgary Cup live on CTV. The scoring play, Kamensky from Tatarinov at 16:46. A couple of those 20-year-old newcomers to the Soviet team showing their prowess as hockey players.
Well, a lot of people in the Soviet team are complaining, around the Soviet entourage are complaining about the weakness, quote unquote, of the Soviet team. And what's happening, of course, they've got a few veterans, including the green unit, the #1 unit. But all these kids, but they're highly skilled youngsters, are gaining experience now for the Olympics next year.
Here's Zalapsky, speaking of kids, trying to center for Canada. Stiles at the point, shoots off the stick, the bellow shaken wide of the net. And Makarov, number 24, clearing it back of his own goal. The Fetisov back to Makarov on the fly. Trying to go around Ryerson, shoots one, and Burke makes a body save with that. Stiles has it for Canada. Out onto the wing to Schreiber. Fetisov intercepting. To Kasatonov. Now to Larionov, who shoots it in. Digging in. Samak couldn't get it. Here's Fetisov from the point. Burke a save. And he smothers it. And we'll get a face-off in Team Canada's end with 1:57 left in the period.
That young fellow there has won the Soviet scoring championship 6 times. He's about to win it for his 7th, and here's why, Brad. Look at these moves.
Oh, he's an experienced player. He was just looking at Rierson's feet, and as soon as Rierson started to plant them, he started going outside, and as soon as he saw Rierson starting to move to his left, he come back inside. He didn't get the shot off that he wanted to. The puck was rolling, but he is so quick at changing directions in full stride.
What a great shot we just had there. We talk about the Golden Stick Award. The guy sitting just in front of him, Fetisov, had won that award too.
And Makarov had won it twice. Now we have an injury against Team Canada. Trent Yanni down on the ice in the corner, and he'll have to be attended to.
I wonder if it's the same sort of thing that happened in the other corner. Maybe we'll get a chance to take a look at it here as they go into the corner. Yanni just batting that around. Oh, he took a whack. Yes, he did. So we've had a spear in one corner, a Canadian on a Soviet, and then we had a cross-check there, a Soviet on a Canadian, and no penalties on either.
Watching that replay, Ron and Dan, the one thing that young players fail to realize is when they're going after a puck and there is somebody on the opposition in the vicinity, do not start reaching for it. That's the worst thing you can do, because you're off balance and you're leaving yourself wide open, and that's what happened to Yanni there. He started reaching for that puck. The Soviet player came up from behind and literally just buried him.
I think it was number 8, Yuri Homolov, who had the high stick up on Yanni. Dave King, by the way, was furious as he hollered from the Team Canada bench, and Yanni has to retire to the dressing room. The Soviets with the line of Nemchinov, Homolov, and Priakin up front. Canada ready for the face-off. Nieuwendyk gets the draw, and Canada's Von Karpen breaks out there with Stapleton. Karpen dumping it in. Going back and unable to control it was Gusarov. Now Nieuwendyk into forecheck, and Priakin, number 14, dropping it back at a neat little play by Gusarov, number 3. And that leads the Soviets to center. Into Priakin, but back for Canada, and controlling is Zalapsky. To Nieuwendyk. Takes a hit, but dumps it in. And going back, Homolov to touch it. That's icing against Canada on the play. And let's go here to Dan.
He said, ready, by the way, you just saw Wally Schreiber there. He'll be with us, of course, during the intermission. But Dave King said one thing he'd change if he does this again is he would give his team a bit of rest before they start the tournament. And they just were flat when they started, and they've just improved as each game has gone by here, and now they seem to be coming into form.
Semenov back for the Soviets, and they just fire it to center. Ryerson clearing it to the Soviet line for Buchan. Gets it into center ice. We're in the final minute of the period. And on the attack, Kamensky, number 13, couldn't get around Tony Stiles. And Joseph comes back for Canada to Doucette. Benoit Doucette upended on the play. Gets it to Habscheid. Now in behind the net, Canada trying to center as Ken Berry got it in front, but broken up. Berry had a chance, but was pulled down. No penalty called, and the fans hollered about that. Now in behind the goal, the Soviets. Svetlov gets it in front. Burke to save. Loose puck, and Berry is there to control it for Canada. Ken Berry with 20 seconds left here in the first period. 1-0 for the Soviets. Here's Berry. Laying it off the boards to Shervin. Soviets just shoot it back into center ice, and now attack led by Svetlov. Number 16, now they just drop it back, and they'll let the clock run out here in the first period. We're down to 2 seconds left, and that's what the Soviets do as they let the final seconds tick away in period 1. The Soviet Union out shooting Canada in the first period, 14-8. And at the end of the first period, the score, the Soviets won. Team Canada nothing. Live from the Saddle Dome, this is the Calgary Cup on CTV. The Soviets outshot Team Canada 14-8. And here we go with period 2 in Calgary. And Fetisov, number 2, the outstanding Soviet defenseman, to his partner Kasatonov, number 7. Kasatonov trying to stick handle through. Now to Larionov, his shot wide of the net. Samak in the corner trying to center. And coming up with it for Canada, Chris Felix. Getting it into center ice as Team Canada come to center. And now it's dumped in by Schreiber, number 7. Soviets, Fetisov. Big burly defenseman. The Samak now to Larionov. Larionov. Checked by Zalapsky, and the Soviets have to drop back. Fetisov to Makarov, back to Fetisov. That's quite a 1-2 punch. Here's Makarov trying to go around Zalapsky. Centers it out in front, but intercepted by Canada and cleared to center ice by Benoit Doucette. Now Makarov, number 24, on the attack. To Larionov, number 11, shoots one, deflected. Makarov a swipe at it, but he missed. And then it's cleared out by Canada as Ryerson shoots it down the ice. Kasatonov back to touch it, and it's icing against Team Canada.
Well, we've touched upon that young fella. Boy, does he look young. Alexander Semak. As we mentioned, he's from Ufa, which is in the Urals, a long way from Moscow. But the scouting report on him, and we get this from Soviet people as well, is one, that he is the best young player coming along right now. Very smart and excellent passer who normally is a centerman. He's playing left wing in place of Krutov for tonight's game. He's an all-star at the junior tournament in Hamilton last year.
Here's Canada on the attack. Sherman into the corner, being tied up by Perbukin. Now in to get it is Barry, number 9. Back on the point. Schreiber's shot, or Ryerson shot, right on, and a good save by Beloshakin there. Now the Soviets. Perbukin getting it into center ice. Broken up by Canada, and here's Barry, number 9. Ken Barry moving in on right wing, centered. Sherman deflected, and it's grabbed by Beloshakin, even though it was going to be wide of the net. From the Saddle Dome, this is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV.
Back around the 15-minute mark of the first period, Trent Yanni was hit low by Homolov of the Soviet Union and was taken off the ice, has not returned. The report now is a suspected separated shoulder. He's been taken to the hospital here in Calgary.
Here's a chance for McLaren, and his blast is up high into the crowd. Canada with a line of McLaren on one wing, Vilgras on the other, Ronning at center. Number 20 is McLaren from Kitchener, Ontario.
I imagine a couple of pro teams will be looking at him. He was drafted in the 9th round by Vancouver in 1982, but he's now a free agent. He's playing pretty well for this Team Canada aggregation.
Here's Homotop trying to break through, but tied up by Stiles on the play. Into the corner. Beckhoff trying to center. Could not. In to get it again. Homotop, number 15. Stiles tied him up. Penalty coming up to Canada. Trying to center now is Kareen. Kareen behind the net, and now as McLaren gets possession, a penalty against Team Canada. From the Saddle Dome, this is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV.
Chris Felix in for hooking at 2:24. Just the second power play advantage. He's behind the net, and there's the hook. Did a pretty good job of it, Brad. You can take him good.
Well, just a little interference, and you try to get a little hook just to throw a player off stride, but where it caught the Soviet player, it was just, I think that threw him way off stride.
Soviets 0 for 1 tonight on the power play, but 5 for 10 in this tournament for 50%. And they operate with the man advantage right now. Shot from the point off the stick of Starikov, wide of the net. Soviets on a power play. Trying to center. Good play by Ryerson to knock it away. Soviets in control again. Back on the point. Stelnov getting it back in. It comes back to Stelnov. Shooting. Rebound shot wide of the net from in close by Homotov. And Canada clear it out of there. Going back and controlling the Soviets. On the attack once again. Leading the rush is Beckhoff, number 27. In for Kareen, number 28. Broken up by Canada. And back they come with Benoit Doucette, number 16. Doucette, who led Canada with 3 shots on goal in the first period. Tied up on the play and checked by Stelnov. And now the Soviets. Homotov into center ice over onto the right wing side, but a bad pass by Starikov. And intercepted by Canada, cleared down the ice. 53 seconds left in the penalty. Lead pass to Makarov, breaking in. Makarov in on goal. Circles. Makarov centered out in front. Kasatonov failed to get the shot off. And Zalewski took it away from him. Makarov held it in. Then broken up and cleared by McLaren for Canada. 30 seconds left in the penalty. Larianov couldn't control the pass, and McLaren dumping it back in. McLaren and Schreiber out as penalty killers. Here's Fetisov. Comes back to Fetisov. And he loses to Schreiber. Schreiber now being hacked at by Semak. But Fetisov, number 2, the outstanding Soviet defenseman, lost it. Backhander. Just wide of the target by Benoit, or by Ken Barry it was. And Fetisov really coughed it up there. Back they come again into the Team Canada zone. Makarov, Canada back in full strength. Makarov centering. Kasatonov centered. Burke knocked it away. Fetisov shoots one. Stick save, Burke. And then it's batted by Felix down the ice. And we're going to get a penalty on the play as well. A slashing penalty, I believe, against the Soviets or maybe against both teams. From the Saddle Dome, this is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV.
Double penalty called here. Ryerson and Larionov off. There's young Larionov. Watch in front of the net. The shot comes in by Fetisov, but watch the action in front. Good save here as the path is clear. Now there's the first one right in front, and now watch Larionov reach up and whack him back. They're going to take that. They both go.
Face off at the Soviet line. A little more skating room. Each team a man short. And, of course, this ice surface 15 feet wider. So there's enough room already. And here comes Priakin, number 14. Priakin still controlling it. Now they get it back on the point again. Gusarov tried a centering pass, missed everybody. Now Yevdokimov getting it in on the right wing side. Drew Priakin, shot back of the net. And Canada's Zalapsky has it. Zalapsky into center ice to Von Karpen. Gets around one man. Shoots one. Blocker save by Beloshakin on the play. And the Soviets control again as they're led by Priakin, number 14. Priakin bumped hard in the corner by Stiles. Canada's running with the puck. Here's Cliff Ronning. Lost it in his skates, and another penalty coming up here to the Soviets. I believe for boarding or roughing. And Canada will have a power play. Priakin gets the penalty.
Get a chance to take a look at it. Priakin, another one of the youngsters. A lot of baby faces on this team. In the corner. He is checked by Stiles. Watch number 14, the roughing. It's up against the boards. Give him a little extra.
That's very interesting, Ron, because usually the Soviets have always had the reputation of never retaliating, of taking the checks and looking the other way and not showing emotion. That was a classic example of retaliation that we haven't seen for years. I may think they're adjusting to the North American way of playing this game.
Well, basically, you've seen it the last 4 or 5 years, a rougher style of play. I think it's gone with the change of the rules back in 1971 or 72 when they allowed forechecking, the body checking in the offensive zone, and with that has come the short tempers and so on that seems to go with that style of play.
Looking for Shriver, who was open in front but couldn't get it to him. And Fetisov and clearing it out. And Samak cleared it to the Team Canada line. Stiles has it there. Stiles in for Shriver. Shriver for Canada. Unable to center. And the Soviets get it back into center ice. Here's Larionov, number 11. Centered out in front. Backhander by Samak just wide. He's the 20-year-old youngster on that big line for the Soviets tonight. Canada's Shriver breaking it up and shooting it into the Soviet zone with Igor Larionov back to get it. To Fetisov. Lead pass in for Homelov. His shot blocked now. Makarov centered. Zalapsky cleared it away. Kasatonov at the point. Feeding it. Now Makarov to Larionov. Back to Makarov. Number 24, Makarov in front. Burke a stick save. Canada's Nieuwendyk cleared it. Soviets with Larionov. Feeding it to Fetisov. To Makarov to Fetisov to Larionov. And broken up by Canada and cleared. Nieuwendyk almost broke away. But great pressure there by this top Soviet line. And now Larionov dropping it to Fetisov. Back to Larionov, number 11. Headmanning to the youngster, or to Homelov now, who's out as the Soviets change. Backhander by Homelov, and Burke to save. And then Priakin with a stick up in front of the net for the Soviets. 1-0, the Soviets leading from the Saddle Dome. This is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV.
22nd at the Canmore Nordic Center, and you'll see that competition with some of the best biathlon competitors in the world on CTV on February 28th.
Soviets tried to hold the puck in Team Canada's zone, but couldn't. Now a loose puck in the center ice area, and Nemchinov couldn't handle it. And here's Styles for Canada to Vilgra. Back to Felix. Canada down to 4 defensemen now with the injury earlier to Trent Yoni. Already out of the game, Larry Trader with a back problem. So they're down to 4 defensemen, and that could tell a tale. Felix shooting it in. Gusarov lost it, centered by Canada. Shot, they score! Claude Vilgra!
Kids are happy, the crowd's happy. It seemed to be mishandled as it was allowed to trickle behind the net by Bieloshakin, and then it was turned over inside the zone, and then popped out in front and just chipped over top of a sprawling Bieloshakin and into the net. Here it is again, and as he didn't get good wood on it, but he got it up, and it seemed to roll off the leg, Brad, and up into the net.
You got to credit Don McLaren with a lot of work on that goal. He went in and stole the puck off the Soviet defenseman, moved it immediately in front of the net to Vilgrand. When Vilgrand couldn't get enough wood on it, but it hit the goaltender's stick and careened up into the top of the net. A big goal for Team Canada.
From Charlesburg, Quebec, Claude Vilgrand tying it up. Canada on the attack of Hadshide, centering one out. But that's broken up in the Soviet Svetlov, clearing it into center ice. Semyonov shoots one off a stick and up into the crowd. 1-1 the score from the Saddle Dome. This is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV.
The goal goes to Claude Vilgrand, former teammate of Mario Lemieux with the Laval Voisin of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League.
There's a quick shot by the Soviets to Taranov just wide of the net. Now pinching in for Buchan. Back on the point, cleared around, and Canada's Zalapsky gets it to Berry, and they shoot it into the Soviet zone. 1-1 the score. Verbuchen, number 5, trying to clear it. And he cleared it up over the glass and into the crowd.
Claude Vilgrand, let's take a look at it. McLaren's number 20, and he forced the turnover there. That was mostly his hard work. Watch it out in front. Just rolled up over top. Looked like he got the pad of Bieloshakin and wound up in the net, Brad. Just a lot of hard work. That's the way Canada's got to score them. They've worked very hard to get this far in this game. The defensive side of their game has been close to impeccable. The other side, they got a break finally.
Well, Don McLaren put a lot of pressure on Alexei Gusarov. And if you've ever been a defenseman and have to go back to get that puck and somebody is on you that fast, you start to worry more about your body than you do about the puck, and that was what happened to Gusarov.
Soviets trying to move in. Homatov, number 15, controlling it. Homatov spins away from a check. Homatov trying to drop it. Ronning knocks it back. Now the Soviets still trying to center. Bekov in behind the net. Homatov in to help out over to the other wing. McLaren battling there with Bekov. Back on the point. Shot there from the point by number 12, Starikov. Burke made the save and just smothered it. He has to be delighted with the way his team has performed here tonight.
That's a full house here at the Saddle Dome in Calgary, and they are absolutely delighted.
Oh, a giveaway there, but Homatov shot it wide. Now Canada, Schreiber clearing it into center ice. 1-1 the score here in the second period. Soviets on the attack again. Perrine couldn't carry it across. And now Nemchinov dropping it back. Here are the Soviets again. Clearing it in. Comes back for Bekov. Couldn't get a shot off. And Canada start back. Benoit Doucette in for Joseph. Back to Doucette. Centered it. Tipped away. And right on to Homatov's stick for the Soviets. 3-on-2 break. Homatov dropping it back. Now centered. Burke a save on the close-in shot by Bekov. Another shot. Rebound. And Burke got a piece of that. There's Perrine. Shot from the point fired wide of the net by Casatona. Now into the other corner. Styles for Canada trying to clear. And Kasatonov couldn't hold it in. Here's Schreiber for Canada. He's checked, and Kasatonov controls for the Soviets. In across the line. Shot by Semak off the goal post. The youngster Semak moved in. Now Fetisov behind the net. Soviets with pressure on to Kasatonov. Shot blocked at the defense by Stiles. And back is Canada. Half-side stick handling. Over to Joseph. He's checked. And here's Makarov to Semak. Semak to Lariana. Backhander just wide. At the point. The drive by Fetisov with a stick save. And Joseph relieves the pressure. Clearing it down the ice. Icing against Canada. 5:50 left in the second period. From the Saddle Dome. This is the Calgary Cup live on CTV.
Well, if Sean Burke wasn't talking to the post back in the first period when Kamensky hit them, here's Semak, and he got a great shot away right off the crossbar.
Maybe that's the book that the Soviets have on Sean Burke. They're going to have to beat him upstairs. He's been very, very strong for this game, and they have the reputation they're going upstairs on him. And if you don't think that the Soviets have turned it up a notch since the Canadians tied up the hockey game, you just ask Sean Burke.
In this period, Soviets have outshot Team Canada 8-4 in the game, 22-12. Soviets still with their big line of Larionov, Semak, and Makarov. Shot from the point, blasted wide of the net. Now Larionov clearing it. Chris Felix is there, number 23. Felix trying to freeze it against the boards and succeeds, and will get a face-off in the Team Canada end of the rink. Chris Felix, one of just 4 defensemen still in this game. Brad, I mentioned it earlier. Larry Trader unable to play tonight because of an injury, and then an injury earlier in this game to Trent Yanni. Tough situation to have only 4 defensemen.
It's a very tough situation. However, I think you're going to find with Canada playing every second night, it's not going to wear on these young guys like it would on some older defensemen.
Face off. Won by Canada, and Hampshire is able to clear it up. Fetisov, number 2, 28-year-old veteran, clearing it to Makarov to Lariana. Now to Kasatonov, number 7. Kasatonov checked in the play, and Ken Berry has it for Canada. Here's Team Canada's Captain Berry. Ahead for Shervin. Shervin trying to race in. Larionov is there. Now Hampshire comes in to kick it back to the net. Let the Soviets come out. Makarov to Larionov at center. Knocked down by Berry. It's Fetisov trying to get something going to Larionov. They get it into the zone. Hampshire tried to clear it. Fetisov held it in. Fetisov to Lariana. Hampshire took it away from him, and Mark Hampshire cleared it out. 1-1 the score. Less than 5 minutes remaining in the second period. Soviets. Makarov clearing one up the middle. Knocked down by Stapleton for Canada. Back to Stiles of Team Canada's line to Joe Nieuwendyk. Here's Nieuwendyk clearing it in. Fellow shaken. Trying to shoot it. Knocked down by Stapleton. Came right back to Kasatonov. And he plays it off the boards to Nemchinov, number 21. He moves in. Behind the back pass to Homolov, but Canada able to clear it out. And the Soviets have to go back. Soviets on the attack with Priyakin. Centering, 2-on-1 break. And never able to get the shot off was Nemchinov, and it was grabbed by Burke, and he held on to it. From the Saddle Dome. This is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV.
Toronto and the Great Canadian Participation Challenge from St. John, New Brunswick. A wide world of sports, Saturday.
Here in the Calgary Cup in a New Year's Eve game, it's 1-1, Canada and the Soviet Union. Canada trying to clear it up, and Chinoff held it in. Tried to center, but that's knocked away, and now Felix gets it to Ronning. They head to McLaren. McLaren, number 20. He set up the last goal. His shot deflects up high off the glass, and then it's cleared out of there by Alexei Gusarov, number 3. Going back for Canada and controlling is Dave Ryerson. Claude Bilbron, number 18, who scored the goal. Now to McLaren. He's tied up in center ice by Yevdimikov. Canada dumping it in. Shot around onto the boards. Vilgra in there forechecking. Ronning gets it to McLaren, back to Ronning. Ronning unable to get a shot out, knocks it into the corner. Yevdokimov trying to clear it up. Here's Vilgra for Canada. Vilgra poked it in front. Fellow Shakin knocked it away. And here come the Soviets. Passes in behind Svetlov. Hustling back Felix for Canada. And that's icing against the Soviet Union. 2:46 left in the second period. A 1-1 game.
Viktor Tikhonov, who was the 5th coach ever to coach the Soviet national team. Names like Tarasov, Loktev, Bobrov, Kulagin. And then Tikhonov, the former defenseman who played with Moscow Dynamo up until 1966 when he finally retired. Went to Riga, coached in Riga. Came to the Soviet national team along with Helmut Balderas. The two of them came up together. And he has been there since. One of the fine coaches, of course, in hockey around the world. And probably the senior one. I can't think of anybody who's done his job as long, certainly not in the National Hockey League, as Tikhonov has done in the Soviet national team program.
Soviets on the attack. The play would have been offside, so Semyonov circles back. Now it's cleared in by the Soviets. Going back, Zalapsky for Canada. Zalapsky into center ice, just missed Doucette with that pass. And Tatarinov shoots at the center ice. Soviets on the attack again, carrying in Svetlov, number 16. Gets it back to the net. Semyonov back on the point, shot off a skate. And the Canadians come back. Here's Joseph over to Schreiber. Broken up, and right back comes Svetlov, number 16. Cleared out by Canada and shot all the way down the ice. Zalapsky shooting it, icing against Team Canada. And this word from Dan Mapp. Well, Mr. Rinch, the Soviets were big favorites in this game, but it's anybody's hockey game right here.
Oh,
we love it.
Just I don't know what it is about New Year's Eve and these Soviet teams, but they always seem to get themselves involved in great hockey games. And we've just got another one. We've had the Montreal Canadiens a few times. They're locked in a pretty good one here with a bunch of kids.
Bukov against the Team Canada's Hampshire. Hampshire got the draw. Canada couldn't clear it. Now shot off the boards and down the ice, but apparently went up over the boards into the Soviet bench and came back onto the ice. And that stops play.
There's a guy we've been seeing for years, Starikov, who played back in 1978 at the World Junior Tournament, which was held in Montreal. Played a lot of hockey since then, kind of as he was in with the World Junior team from the Soviet Union in 1978, overshadowed by people like Fetisov and Kazatonov, who also played in that tournament on that defense.
Here's Canada with Barry clearing the zone into center ice. Soviets, Bekov, number 27, back to get it. Cleared it to center, but good check by Barry breaks that up. Now Hampshire in center ice for Canada. Base checked and away comes Homatov, number 15, dropping it back. Weak shot off the stick of Bekov and grabbed by Team Canada's young goaltender, Sean Burke, and he held it.
Speaking of that World Junior Tournament in 78, Canada did not win the championship that year, despite the fact that they had, playing against people like Fetisov, Kazatonov, and Starikov, people like Wayne Gretzky, Bobby Smith, Bert Fraser, Brad McCrimmon. Great team Canada put on the ice, most of it in the National Hockey League.
Still 1:20 left in the second period. Canada won. The Soviet Union won. The line of Bekov, Kareen, and Homatov still out there. Canada with Ronning, Vilgra, and McLaren. Vilgra on the faceoff comes to Stelnov at the point. Soviets working it in. Now they try and center. Coming to the other point, shot from the right point, right on target. And it was let go by Starikov, but Burke made the save and just held on to it.
Well, there's our friend Mr. Starikov again. You talk about having a lot of success over the years. He's 3 times been on a world championship team, 79, 83, 86, an Olympic champion, 1984. He's played all through the years with the Soviet Central Army team and the Soviet League, which means he wins the league championship almost every year at the same time. So these guys that are playing on the Soviet national team are used to winning.
He's one of the veterans, 28 years of age. Now Canada's Felix getting it to Nieuwendyk. He lost it on the play as Soviets try and center, but Chris Felix a good play to break it up. Felix fired it, crazy hop off the boards. It helps Canada as the puck comes to center ice. Now controlling Stelnov, number 4, couldn't get it in. Here's Nieuwendyk, dropping it to Karpin, into Stapleton. Stapleton shoots from a bad angle, and Bellows shaking a stick save there. Now Karpin knocked down on the play, trying to freeze it there, couldn't. And Bekov, number 27, carries up. Soviets changing on the fly, carrying in Kareen, number 28, but Stiles did a good job of tying him up. Now Starikov from the point, shot deflects. In behind the net, Homatov, number 15. He's pinned in there, managed to center, over to the other point. Shot blocked, and then cleared away by Zalapsky as he blocked the shot by Starikov. 6 seconds left in the period. Here's Fetisov shooting it to the Canadian line. Stiles broke it up. And the second period comes to an end. Canada getting the only goal. It's a 1-1 game after 2 periods. Shots on goal favored the Soviets. 25-13. But the score, Canada won. The Soviets won. Live from the Saddle Dome, this is the Calgary Cup on CTV.
John Burke is one of them. Another fellow who has really stood out in my mind in this game has been the fellow who just took the draw, Benoit Doucette, having a great game here.
Here we go, third period. Canada. Schreiber in across the line to Doucette, but that play is offside. Llarionov was there to break it up, and there is number 16, the man Ron was talking about. Benoit Doucette, a native of Montreal.
Native of Montreal, who played some junior hockey in Hull, and then went on to the University of Moncton before Moncton and the American Hockey League picked him up. His NHL rights now owned by the Calgary Flames.
Here's Team Canada with Felix trying to carry in. Did Soviets break it out of there, and Zalapsky has to hustle back to beat Semak to it. Zalapsky tying up the youngster Semak. It's the Soviets' big line of Larionov, Makarov, and Semak out there. Puck cleared. Held in by Kasatonov. Shot behind the net. Semak, number 18, centered right in front. Nobody there. Kasatonov racing in, but Doucette is there to clear it up. And the Soviets, Semak, number 18, back together. Now at center ice, Shervin knocking it down for Canada. Here's Stiles. Over to Ryerson, number 22. Ryerson feeding it ahead. That's called back on a 2-line offside. Face-off to be just inside the Team Canada blue line.
George Shervin from Saskatchewan, an 84 Olympian. He was on the Olympic team through all of the pre-Olympic events, but unfortunately missed the Olympic tournament because of an injury. And he's back after splitting a couple of seasons with Edmonton and Minnesota. He was traded for Mark Napier by the Oilers to Minnesota. He's a World Junior team member in 1983. Played in the World Championships in 1983 with a bunch of NHLers in Munich, along with James Patrick.
Here the Soviets on the attack. Trying to make a centering play is Kamensky. He's pinned in there by Shervin. Now back of the net, centered out in front, and the Soviet player was decked and fanned on the shot. Puck goes all the way down the ice, and it is Semyonov who was decked at the side of the net. He was shaken up. Here's Shervin for Canada, trying to clear it out. Now the puck loose in the center ice area. Canada just freezing it there, and we got a stoppage. That's the way the third period begins from the Saddle Dome. This is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV. The Soviet line of Bekov, Kareen, and Homatov out there. Bekov in that second period alone had 4 shots on goal. Canada with Ronning, Vilgraw, and McLaren. Canada dumping it in, but the Soviets come back. Homatov, number 15. To Starikov, number 12. Starikov centered. Felix was there to break it up, and Zalapsky has the puck. Zalapsky to Claude Vilgraw. He leaves it for Ronning. With Ronning moving in. Ronning, flip shot. Fellow shaken, cleared it. Here's Vilgraw. Round behind the net, cleared. Vilgraw again. Back of the net to Ronning. Lip Ronning. Circling. Still controlling is Ronning. Out in front. Put it in front off of McLaren's skate. Into the corner. And Stelnov is there to get it out onto the wing to Homatov. Homatov for the Soviets in this 1-1 game. Into Bekov. Dropping it back. Here's Homatov. Can't center. And Zalewski has it for Canada. And Zalewski shoots it down the ice. Going back will be Gusarov, number 3. Touches it. Icing against Canada.
The area in front of the net clear, or at least tying up the people so that the Soviets are not getting in there.
That's definitely good hockey, because if you're on the defense anytime you're your own end, you'd rather have the shots coming from the point than the slot. And especially those goal mouth passes, those are the ones you shut down, because you'd rather have the goaltender get a shot from the slot than get beat on a goal mouth pass. So the Canadians are doing a lot, showing a lot of poise.
Soviets clearing it into center ice. Omalov in across the line with a pass to Nemchinov, and it's offside at Team Canada's blue line.
Well, there's Nemchinov, and he is, as you can see, a lot of very boyish-looking fellas here. He's only 20 years of age as well, and we talk about the first 5 on this team, but the rest of the Soviet team, for the most part, is in a rebuilding process, and they're very much like, outside of that first 5, Canada's Olympic team, too. They're young, they're inexperienced, they make mistakes.
Here are the Soviets. Omalov couldn't center. Now a shot from the point. Burke turns that aside as Gusarov let it go. Now Ryerson couldn't clear it. Soviets trying to center. Priyakin, number 14, does, but missing it was Yevdokimov, and back come the Canadians. And Neuendijk is tied up. Fans thought there should have been a penalty. Omalov now for the Soviets. Into center ice to Priyakin. Priyakin across to number 21, Nemchinov. And he drops it back, and Gusarov chased all the way back by Neuendijk. He tosses it out. Now it comes right back to Gusarov. Into center ice. Here's Makarov moving in. He's dangerous. Makarov out in front. Still has it. Shoots. He scores! Makarov from the slot as he circled the net, and it's 2-1 for the Soviets. And Sergei Makarov, one of the great scorers in Soviet hockey, shows his stuff here.
Well, Gretzky couldn't have done it better. Watch him just circle the net. He's not picked up. Of course, they're looking to pick up the guys. They don't want that goal mouth pass, but he wound up out in front, looked for the top corner, and I'll tell you, top shelf and just under the crossbar. But you notice everybody getting in position to pick up the other players, but the perfect shot, Brad.
I think you've got to credit Makarov with the strength of staying on his skates, even though the defenseman had a stick on him.
Here are the Soviets again on the attack. Burke, a big save on Samak, the youngster on the Soviet big line tonight. 2-1 for the Soviets from the Saddledome. This is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV.
Sergei Makarov from Larionov and Gusarov. There he is around the net. Great view, Brad.
Well, you just got to say what a great job he did is keeping his balance, and what a strong, he's not a big guy, but the strength that he has, and anytime you're in a tight game, it's that individual effort that can win a hockey game for you, and I think that Makarov just showed you that they do have that individual talent.
Burke with a save there, and a shot from the point by Tatarinov, and he held on. We've talked about Makarov twice, the winner of the Gold Stick Award as the outstanding player in Europe. And 535 points in 384 games in Soviet hockey. So he knows where the net is and how to score. One of the great stars in the Soviet game.
Well, I have to tell you about the way they count points in the Soviet Union, Dan. It's not the way we do, and that point total is a Gretzky-like point total, because the way they give assists, the rules state in Soviet scoring that you clearly must take a pass that directly results in a goal being scored. So no assist is given on a rebound, for instance. And so when you take a look at Makarov and the way he's totaled the points, most of the time you'll see only one assist on a goal, quite often no assists on a goal.
Which magnifies those statistics even more, as we talked about. Here's Canada with Stiles clearing it into center ice for Barry. Barry for Canada, shot it to the Soviet line for Buchan. Clearing it back out now. Here's a chance for Hampshire. Shooting at a stick save by Bellows, shaken right there. Good chance for Canada. Soviets with Svetlov circling. Now they carry into center ice. Carrying in is Semyonov, number 30. Semyonov still with the puck, leaving it back of the net, but Stiles then steps into Svetlov and knocked him flying. And here's Barry at center for Sherman. Broken up and cleared back up by Kerbukin. Soviets on the attack. Get it into the zone, but broken up, and right back comes Canada. Shot by McLaren, blocked at the defense. Semyonov back together. Getting it for Svetlov, number 16. Now into center ice. Soviets on the attack once more. Homatov gets his stick up high, now taken out by Zalapsky. Into the corner for Karin. Number 28, Sergei Karin, tied up by Ronik. Back of the net to Homatov, centered. Shot, Burke the save on Bekhoff from the slot. And then Homatov and Roning push at each other. Big save there by Sean Burke.
Shots on goal right now, 31-15 for the Soviet Union, and Sean Burke has been under a lot of pressure, and for the most part, he stood up before. Homatov getting the chance on that pass out, but the pass was not exactly where you'd like it to be. It has shorten the stick up a little bit in order to get it away, and it allowed Burke, I think, to get across and make that and cover it.
Well, what I liked about that chance was how quickly the puck moved between the three Soviet people. They knew where everybody was. It went bing, bing, and the shot. And that type of chances you got to credit with people playing together.
Here's the line of Bekhoff, Homatov, and Karin. Face-off deep in the Canada end of the rink. Nieuwendyk will take the face-off for Team Canada. And Nieuwendyk wins the draw cleanly. This is Chris Felix. Felix being checked, but Zalapsky there to Stapleton. He couldn't get it out of the zone. Now it is knocked out, but we got a stoppage in play. From the Saddle Dome, this is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV. "13 minutes, 54 seconds left in the third period. The Soviets 2, Canada 1. Nieuwendyk winning a face-off. It comes to Burke. He cleared it. Homatov held it in as he intercepted the clearing pass and then shot it wide. And then Sean Burke, the 19-year-old Team Canada goaltender, grabbed it.
CTV that starts with the Tournament of Roses parade and ends with the Orange Bowl.
Soviets on the attack as they hold it in. Stelnov at the point. Moving in from the left side into the corner. Felix trying to hold it there for Canada. Chris Felix just working the puck along the boards with his skate. He's keeping it in motion. Now they whistle it down. And they'll face it off in the circle to the right of the Team Canada goal. Felix was very sure that he didn't freeze the puck there. He kept moving it along the boards.
Well, it's something you don't see very often in international hockey is the freezing of the puck along the boards. And, Brad, I think it's the nature of the beast, the big ice surface and so on, the fact you want to keep that puck moving.
The ice surface does tend to be a big part of it because you can just fire that puck around the boards and somebody's got an awful lot of room to take off. But it was a good move there because you didn't know, the defenseman did not know where everybody was.
Here's Nieuwendyk against Nemchinov on the faceoff, and Nieuwendyk wins another draw cleanly. Canada with Zalapsky. Over to his defense partner, who is Felix, who cleared it down the ice. Harpin racing in after it, beaten to the puck. Soviets can't clear it. Here's Nieuwendyk trying to get it in front. He couldn't get it done, and Kryakin shoots it into center ice. And Chris Felix goes back for Canada. Felix just shooting it to the Soviet line. Soviets shoot it right back, and now they're stapled it into Nieuwendyk. Nieuwendyk wrist shot wide of the target. And the Soviets leading 2-1. Start back. Kryakin, number 14. 3-on-3 break. Kryakin trying to break through. Got it through, but Burke was there to hold on, and then both of the Team Canada defensemen took Kryakin out of the play. Didn't worry about the puck.
Nice effort on the part of young Kryakin there, who's a 23-year-old. The Soviet wings, but I think a better effort by the two defensemen who played it almost perfectly.
Oh, definitely. The two defensemen staggered themselves, gave him an opening, and then when he tried to beat them both, they just closed it. And they did a good job. They knew that the loose puck would go to Burke, but they just made sure that Bryakin could not get through it, couldn't even get a stick to the puck.
In this third period, the Soviets have outshot Canada 7-2. In the game, 32-15 in favor of the Soviets. Here's a face-off, won by Canada, and back comes Doucette. Firing it in. Joseph in to get it, couldn't, and Larionov cleared it for the Soviets. Stiles trying to clear it up. Larionov, or it was the other Soviet player, Semak, who almost stole it. Now Makarov holding it in. Doucette tying him up, and here comes Joseph, leading a break for Canada. On right wing, Karpin couldn't get around Fetisov, and Team Canada starts over again. Ryerson shoots it in. Fetisov, number 2. Passing up the middle, taken by Larionov. Now over to Semak, number 18. Got it into the zone. Hampshire shot it back up. And Kasatonov has it for the Soviets. Long bouncer, Burke the save. And he held it long enough that we get a whistle. From the Saddle Dome, this is the Calgary Cup, live on C. 2-1 in favor of the Soviet Union, 11:50 left in the third period. Face-off. They rule the puck was dropped unfairly, and Canada will buy that because Tatarinov had a shot all teed up at the right point, and they whistled it down. Mark Hampshire to the bench for Team Canada.
And Dan, all of us were saddened, of course, by the tragic deaths of 4 members of the Swift Current Broncos in a bus accident over the last 24 hours. Mark Hampshire, very shaken by it at practice this morning. He's from the Swift Current area, and he wanted us, and of course we pass it on at the same time, our condolences to the families of the players. All of us who have traveled buses over the years know the dangers of winter driving and have been shaken by it.
Here's a shot and a goal by Semyonov from the slot. Soviets winning a face-off, and Semyonov from the slot gets it by Burke. It's 3-1 for the Soviets.
Well, just a quick shot right off the face-off as the puck comes out into the high slot area, and that one probably was, after all of the work that Burke has done in this game, was one he'd like to have back, I think.
I think so. Sean Burke had the tendency there of start to drop a little bit too soon, and he was on his way down, and the puck was going up, and it just kind of went under his arm.
3-1 on the goal by Semyonov, and here's Zalewski back for Canada. He clips it in. Soviets, Verbuchen back to get it and try and clear it. Soviets now with 2 in a row here in the third period to take a 3-1 lead. Canada trying to bounce back. Sherman in the corner. Sherman is checked, and Svetlov clears it into center ice, and here's a chance for Tatarinov to drive, and Burke the save on that. Into the corner to get it. Svetlov trying to center. Now to Kamensky, number 13, and Zalewski decked him. Here's the centering play for the Soviets. They get it back on the left point. Svetlov tied up, can't get the shot off. Soviets leading 3-1 and controlling, but now it's cleared out of there by Canada. And the Soviets go back to get it. Fire it into the Team Canada end, but unable to do anything with it was the forward Kamensky. And then we get a stoppage in play and a face-off at the Team Canada blue line.
Anatoly Semyonov, another one of the youngsters. He's from Dynamo if you want, from Moscow. Haven't got a chance to see it as Semyonov gets the pass from Svetlov and then just drifted it in there. And again, it was up high on Burke.
Believe it or not, that shot had an awful lot of steam on it because Sean Burke got a piece of it, but it just powered his way between his arm and his chest pad.
3-1 for the Soviets. Homatov in his own zone. Trying to clear it across. Does to Stelnov, who gets it into center ice. And here's Bekov, number 27. Bekov dropping it back to Stelnov. Soviets get it to Bekov again, but this time they go offside after some very pretty passing by the Soviets.
Well, there's Valery Kamensky, and that's like the old days, Brad. Just stitch him up right on the bench. looking after him as he obviously in that little play in the corner where he was knocked down. Who was that? I think it was Zalapsky that hit him down in the corner, and apparently he wrapped his head up against the glass, and they're working on him to the bench. They'll have him back in play.
Kaminsky, one of those 20-year-olds on the Soviet squad. Here the Soviets on the attack again, moving in. Bekov has been dangerous all night. Couldn't get it centered. Now Homatov back of the net. The other member of that line, Kareen, he couldn't center, and Ronning has it for Canada. To McLaren, who just played it off the boards into center ice. We're past the 10-minute mark of the third period. 3-1 for the Soviets. Homatov getting it in on the wing. Kareen couldn't center, and the puck comes back into center ice. Soviets. Stelnov. Now passing it off onto the wing. Intercepted. Here's Stapleton. Hit the goal post. Oh, Mike Stapleton with a great chance. After an intercept, and he hit the post. And now Stelnov for the Soviets. Getting it into center ice. Bekov in on the right side. Checked, and Nieuwendyk back for McLaren. McLaren got it to center, but the Soviets, Kareen takes over. Now they drop it back into their own zone, and here comes an attack led by number 26. Yevdokimov can't center it, and Stapleton, who hit the goalpost earlier, cleared it. Now it comes right back to Stapleton. Shot it to the Soviet line. Here come the Soviets right back the other way. Homalov moving in. Drop pass, shot right on. Burke the save on Kryakin. And Canada holding on now and trailing 3-1. Here's another chance. Soviet center. This one cleared by Stapleton. He's to the corner with Nemchinov. Now Nemchinov trying to pin Nieuwendyk in there, and he does, and we got to stop it. From the Saddle Dome, this is the Calgary Cup, live on CTV.
Soviet Union leading 3-1. They've cranked it up a notch in this period, and perhaps the fact that Canada has been going with 4 defensemen for most of the night is finally beginning to take its toll. They've been outshot 10-2 in this period.
Soviets with their big line out there now. Kasatonov shot is blocked, and then Canada clear it to center. Larianov to Fetisov, shot up the boards. Now Makarov dropping it to Kasatonov. To Larianov moving in, trying to center it. Does. Here's Kasatonov, and a big save by Burke. And Canada starts back. Number 7, Wally Schreiber. Trying to move in, taken out of the play. Kasatonov back to get the loose puck. Kasatonov to Semak. Now to number 2, Fetisov. Into Larianov. Can't get it through the defense. Larianov to Kasatonov, shooting. Burke a piece of that with his blocker. Schreiber tries to clear. Held in by Larianov. This is the Soviets' big line. Here's Makarov into Larianov. Larianov, number 11. To Makarov. Makarov out in front. Can't get the shot off. And Ryerson then clears it for Canada. That big line of Larianov, Semak, and Makarov doing their business there.
Well, Makarov was very upset at himself and being checked at the side of the net as you look at Fetisov going to the bench. And Sean Burke has been under fire. 38 shots on goal. He's given up just 3 goals in this game. And boy, he has had to deal with some shots that have been labeled. We'll give him a great deal of credit in this game. One of the best saves that he's made on the night came on this one when they flooded the zone here. Kasatonov is going to come down and right through the slot from the defense position. There he is. You just don't expect the defenseman to be there like that, Brad.
No, but Larianov was smart enough that he looked the Canadian defenders away, and they left Kasatonov, and he made the pass after he looked them away.
Canada trailing 3-1. Chris Felix clearing the puck into center ice. Going back for the Soviets, Svetlov, number 16. Now Canada stealing it. They drop it back to the point to Stiles. Other point to Felix. He fired it to Sherman. Sherman to Hampshire. Mark Hampshire tied up on the play by Perbukin. And the Soviets try and clear it. Held in. Here's a chance. Barry with a shot wide of the net. And Sherman upended. Canada get it again. Barry in the corner. Back to the net to Hampshire. Back for Barry, but taking it away to Taranov, and he's able to clear it into center ice. Soviets have it. Svetlov, number 16. Tied up and knocked down by Tony Stiles. Stiles in, clearing it away. Omalov tried to center it. Soviets. As now Barry gets into a high-sticking match with Svetlov. Canada then clear at the center ice. And going back is Starikov, number 12. And now we're going to get a penalty against both teams here for high-sticking, as they were changing players on the play. From the Saddle Dome, this is the Calgary Cup live on CTV.
You just can't.
Well, we have these little things start to develop during a hockey game, Brad, and Barry and Svetlov really had it going through a whole shift there that ended right in front of the Soviet bench when Barry stuck up behind Svetlov and nailed him.
Those things are going to happen. There's a lot of intensity in the game, and Canada is pressing right now. They're going to have to press. The Soviets have got to make sure they don't lose control of this hockey game, and it's going to come down to one-on-one confrontations.
4-on-4 hockey, each team a man short. Barry for high-sticking. Svetlov for roughing. Here is Chris Felix for Canada. To Claude Villegrand, who has the only Canadian goal to Felix. Head-manning to Ronning. Ronning. Moving in, has Zalapsky with him. Can't get it to him. Soviets clear it out. And here comes a break for Bekov, number 27. In the clear. Shooting. Burke to save, and Zalapsky then cleared it. Zalapsky trying to get it to Felix, but broken up by Homatov from behind. Now ahead to Bekov on another break. Moving in. Stops. Spins. Backhander. Burke gets the shoulder up to make the save. What moves by Bekov, though? And now Villegrand for Canada with less than 5 minutes to play. Villegrand over to Felix. His shot wide of the net. And the Soviets take control of their own zone. They lead 3-1 as carrying out is Priyakin, number 14. Priyakin centering out in front. And Chinop dropping it back. Now back over onto the boards. Priyakin trying to center, and then it comes out of the zone. And the Soviets have to drop back. Omalov clearing it to Chinop. Now in across the line. Priyakin. Priyakin dropping it back. The defenseman moving in. And Gusarov shot stopped by Burke. Now Priyakin trying to center. Number 14 for the Soviets, Sergei Priyakin. To Nemchinov. Back on the point, now to Priyakin, but cleared out by Ryerson. And the Soviets just controlling this game as they have had terrific puck control here in the third period. Here's Zalapsky trying to break in. Larionov back-checking to break it up. And he gives it over to Gusarov. Gusarov clearing it to Makarov, back to Gusarov. And cleared into center ice, Larionov. Drops to Semak. Here's the youngster, Semak breaking in. Burke slides out to make a save. Rebound, loose in the slot. Larionov a whack at it. Now Makarov, number 24. Makarov. Trying to center, Canada breaking it up. Sherman. Lead pass just out of the reach of Barry. And now Zalapsky and Makarov have each other in headlocks back inside the Team Canada blue line. And then some other players try and get involved.
Well, Semak is really at it there. He's a young fellow. He's a bit of a hothead. He and now Barry and Semak are going to go at it. We haven't seen a fight between a Canadian and a Soviet team in my memory. And they're all just pairing off a la the National Hockey League. But it is Barry and Semak that are getting themselves involved in a true fight. Now, the Soviets are not completely unfamiliar with this sort of thing. Fetisov and Jimmy Johnson a couple of years ago at the World Hockey Tournament got into a real Donnybrook and wound up being suspended 3 games for the next World Tournament. Jimmy Johnson now with the Pittsburgh Penguins was playing at that time for Team USA. But I can't remember them flying off the handle like that.
Semak and Barry were the main eventers.
Oh.
Meanwhile, Makarov having a very difficult time at the linesman as he's being ushered over to the penalty box.
Now, what generally happens is they'll give double minors. Now, I don't know whether Jean-Pierre Desaulniers is going to just say, all right, this is a disqualification and you're gone for the rest of the game, but it would appear this guy, he thinks this is
Well, let me tell you something. That's not roughing.
Yeah.
That's fighting. We'll wait for the referee to make a decision. 3-1 the Soviets from the Saddle Dome. This is the Calgary Cup live on CTV.
Makarov and leaning against the boards is the Soviet team captain there. That is Fetisov. Zalapsky. Now here's what happened. Behind the play, watch, just you see the heads there. Now here's where it starts. Now they are locked in a headlock, and really there wasn't much happening there at all except a little bit of wrestling. But it led to a whole bunch of ancillary stuff. Now Zalapsky and Makarov have been given 2-minute minors. Now, the rest of it, we don't know yet. Now, as they say in international hockey, because it means if you fight, fisticuffs means disqualification from the game. Now, whether he's given double minors, which is the international way of getting away from, banning people for the rest of the game, or not, we'll just see.
Meanwhile, Ron, Makarov has left the penalty box and gone to the Soviet dressing room. Whether he's been thrown out or whether he's been injured, we're not sure.
I can't believe that there's anything more than roughing. Now, we've got a 7-minute penalty handed out to Barry, and a 7-minute penalty being handed out also to his
Semak
partner, Semak. Now, Semak, a very young guy, he just joined the Soviet national team this fall. He and Tatarinov have been a going concern. Tatarinov, number 6, the defenseman, was in a fight with little Alfie Turcotte last night. I think he is going to say at the end of this game that he is very proud of his hockey club. They have improved with every game. His goal, of course, is not to win the Calgary Cup, although that would be nice. It's to win the 1988 Olympics.
Ron,
direction, he is, I think, preparing his team well. He needs some players, of course. We're looking there at Tikhonov.
Ron, I just love the expression on Victor Tikhonov's face. That was just beautiful.
He looked like Don Cherry.
I don't think he'd had the same lines as Don would, but Don had a better smirk than Victor does. But Victor, he was just enjoying it. And then Makarov, when he was in the penalty box, was like, he was trying hard not to let everybody see that he was grinning.
Here's the penalty situation. Zalapsky and Makarov get high-sticking minors as well. Makarov gets a 10-minute misconduct. Semak gets a 5-minute penalty for fighting. So does Ken Berry. So they're finished for the evening. And Ron, aren't they liable to be suspended for the next game as well?
Well, they'll face some discipline, and I don't know exactly what that will be. But they are very tough on fighting in international hockey. Some think, you'll disagree, Brad, but I believe that they should start instituting that kind of discipline in the National Hockey League.
By the way, on the minor penalty or on the major or match penalties for fighting to Semak and Berry, they also get minor penalties. So 7 minutes in penalties handed out.
Well, let's look at tomorrow as we move onward here in the Calgary Cup. The United States versus Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia looking for a berth in the gold medal game against the Soviet Union. And, of course, the United States, who defeated Canada in the first game of this championship, could be facing Canada again for the bronze medal in the championship.
Each team is going to be 2 men short here with 3:09 to play. The minor penalties to Makarov and to Zalapsky, the last 2 minutes, but Berry and Semak get 7 minutes, so they're finished for the night. And the Soviets have to put someone in the penalty box because Makarov also had a 10-minute misconduct.
Dan, we got to look at the bench there. There's Semak sitting down. He hasn't left the bench area. Last night, when the U.S. was losing 10-1 to the Soviets, the main line from the Soviet Union left the bench in the third period, went in and showered and changed and combed their hair. I came out, and one of the players came out was an MVP
Larionov.
in his street clothes. You can say tonight, Semak's been kicked out. He's staying on the bench. Nobody's going for a shower before this game is over.
I think Larionov's the one sitting in the penalty bench, serving the penalty, yeah. So put your superstar in there to serve the penalty. Of course, he was on the ice when all of this happened, although not very much involved. There's a young fella who many people, the rumors had, he didn't play in the exhibition series last year at this time because they thought, the rumors were that he was contemplating defecting. Was drafted by the Vancouver Canucks a couple of years ago. He is since married, and I guess there's a feeling that if there was any thought of his defecting, it has departed. He speaks English fluently. He's a wonderful young man and a wonderful hockey player.
Now Fetisov, as you look at Dave King, is over-explaining to Tikhonov, the referee's rulings. By the way, in the third period, the Soviets have not only scored 2 goals, they've outshot Canada 18-2. And in the game, 43-15. That's how dominant the Soviets have been here in the third period. Tikhonov looks ticked off, doesn't he?
I knew you were going to slip one in eventually, Dan, even with 3:09 left. We knew you were not going to let us down.
Oh, I thought all day about that.
Well, Fetisov says, I don't know what's going on. Tikhonov is he's going to have his say. He wants to have his talk with the official.
Victor Tikhonov is definitely upset. His feeling is that the Canadians were the instigators in this situation, and they should have a penalty, penalized even farther. So most coaches are all the same, doesn't matter what country.
Yeah.
Each team 2 men short. We're down to 3 minutes remaining. 3-1 for the Soviets as Canada's Tony Stiles works it into center ice. Schreiber couldn't get anywhere. Soviets starting back with Kasatonov carrying in. Kasatonov looking to make a play. Centers it to Fetisov. And Fetisov leaves it for Kasatonov. Kasatonov had it roll off a stick, and Stiles has it for Canada to Chris Felix. Felix gets it to center. Broken up. And here's Fetisov trying to break in. Tied up by Ryerson in the play. Ryerson winding it around. Coming in is Fetisov for the Soviets. And now Felix trying to break out for Canada. And Felix checked from behind by Bakov. And the puck comes back into the Soviet zone to Kasatonov. We got 2 men short. They just send out Kasatonov and Fetisov, and they control the whole thing. Here they come on the attack. Bakov into Fetisov, moving in. Stiles takes him out. And then Fetisov drops it back. And Starikov, who's just come on to replace Kasatonov, back to get it. Soviets have had complete possession here during this 2-man short situation. Here's Bakov. Can't move around the defense. And he's knocked down, and Ronning has it for Canada. Flip Ronning. Into Chris Felix. Felix moving in. Soviets have 3 men back, though. Now it comes to Ronning. Ronning around 1 man. In on goal. Gets it in front. Couldn't get the shot off. And Bellows shaken after a great individual effort by Ronning. Able to freeze it.
Well, Ronning had to maintain possession of the puck inside the blue line while he waited for the line to change. And finally the puck was dished off, and Ronning is on his way. Now, as he cuts through, the puck went loose, and is that Bill Graham? I think was right in the slot area reaching for the loose puck. Here it is. Yes, it was Bill Graham, number 18. And as it rolls in there, it's lying loose, but Bill Graham is covered on the play by Bekov. And covering up was better shaken, and that's just the 16th shot the Team Canada has had in this game, and only the 3rd this period.
We're down to 1:21 left. The Soviets leading 3-1. It was 1-1 after 2. Soviets break out with Semyonov trying to clear it in. Ace check now moving in from the point. But Taranov with a shot that is handled by the Team Canada goaltender Burke. And here's Bilgrah working it out onto right wing. Felix ahead to Zalapsky. We're in the final minute. Team Canada's goaltender to the bench, and they have 5 attackers, each team a man short. Puck is centered. Bilgrah shoots one up high off the glass. Here's Ronning. 46 seconds left. Team Canada with no goaltender. They have 5 against 4 because of the yanking of the goaltender. Now it's centered, but Hampshire couldn't get it, and the Soviets clear it to center. Knocked down by Felix. Ahead to Hampshire. Shot it in. And now Taranov over on the near boards into it with one of the Canadians. And now everybody comes over. I couldn't see who Taranov was into it with, but it may have been Zalapsky. And it happened away across the ice, away from the play.
Well, Semyonov is in there as well, but Tatarinov is the one, of course, who got involved with Alfie Turcotte of the U.S. team. And this one will be roughing. So they'll both go. So we've had a kind of a rough last 5 minutes of this hockey game as the tempers have flared somewhat. And the Soviet Union, unlike a few years ago when they wouldn't get involved in this sort of thing, now the emotions do and are allowed to surface, and they have. Now, this has been a tough hockey game. They have played at a very high level, of high tempo throughout. It's been close, and the result has been the roughing. Zalapsky's in, and Larionov will be in as well. There he is.
All of this, by the way, occurring with 30 seconds to play.
That's Belyushenko there, the goaltender. He hasn't had a great deal of work. Canada's had just one shot since the 8-minute mark of the third period. They have had, by the way, one post. Mike Stapleton hitting the post back at the 10:45 mark after the Soviets had gone into a 3-1 lead.
Well, if anyone had seen the dominance of the Soviets last night in a 10-1 victory over the United States, they'd be very pleased with the efforts and the performance of Team Canada here tonight against just an awesome Soviet machine.
Larionov has picked up an extra 2 minutes on this one, and Belyushenko has picked up a penalty. So now they're going to play 2 men short here with the net empty.
But only 30 seconds left.
30 seconds remaining. So we've really had an interesting final 5 minutes here. Some things to remember. Now Fetisov is over there discussing things with Jean-Pierre Desaulniers, the referee from Pointe-à-Pierre, Quebec.
Roughing penalties against Zalapsky and Katarinov. But Katarinov gets a double minor, and Belyushenko, the goaltender, gets a minor for leaving his crease.
Well,
but meanwhile, that penalty is going to be delayed because they have 3 penalties up on the clock. Team Canada has 2.
Well, now the discussion is where the face-off is going to be. They think that Canada believes it should be in the Soviet zone. With 30 seconds remaining, it's a very important face-off coming up, and we'll find out just what Dave King feels about his face-off people, who he's going to send out to take this draw.
That's Jean-Pierre Desaulniers, the referee from Pointe-à-Pierre. He's had his work cut out for him here in the third period.
Oh, yes. Well, they're going to give us the face-off about 10 feet inside the blue line. This team captain, Fetisov, youngest captain in Soviet history. He got the captaincy at the age of 23.
Team Canada with no goaltender. 30 seconds left. They will play 4 against 3. Each team 2 men short, but by Team Canada pulling their goaltender, they have 4 offensive players up near the Soviet blue line.
And Vilgrand taking the draw.
But only 30 seconds left, and it's 3-1 for the Soviets. Here's Hampshire for Canada. Dumped in by Felix. Cleared out by the Soviets. Going wide of the net. Here's a race for it. Larionov in to get it. He scores. He's onside. And with 12 seconds left, Larionov sews it up for the Soviets to make it 4-1.
Well, it was no race at all. Larionov moving as the puck was cleared to the line, and all he had to do was chase it down, and it kind of teed up for him right in front of the net. Won't come easier than that one, as he outraced the defenseman who was trying to keep it in at the blue line on that flipped pass that came out to the line. Defenseman at the point tried to keep it in there, and then when it got by him, it was simply Larionov who was moving in the right direction to pick it up. And that'll wrap it up. Canada will be meeting the United States in the bronze medal game on Friday. And Czechoslovakia is likely to be beating.
Meanwhile, the United States and Czechoslovakia play tomorrow. Here's Vilgra's shot, and Belyushenko to save. Clears it. Knocked down. Ryerson hit the goal post. Vilgra's shot. And that was blocked by Fetisov in front of the net, and that's the way it ends here in Calgary. And a great ovation for Team Canada before a sellout crowd as they bow here to the Soviet Union for